Hey, what's the matter with you? Hey, welcome back to our Stupid Rex. It's I'm Corbin.
I'm Rick.
And today, we know this came out a little while ago, but we want to start doing quick reviews of a couple of the Oscar films coming out, so you know our views on them, because we're big into the Oscars. And people have been asking for what we thought of The Irishman. So this will be a quick review of
We're
The
assuming
Irishman.
you've seen it. If you haven't, go away and come back.
Go away. A mob hitman recalls his involvement with the slaying of Jimmy Hoffa.
Right.
Obviously, directed by this unknown guy named Martin Scorsese.
Yes. I have good feelings about his career.
Yeah, it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, he'll probably
starring
and these newcomers, these young bucks coming up in the industry, man.
Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, and a bunch of other people.
Harvey Keitel, Ray Romano is great seeing him in this, and a huge bunch of people in the cast.
And so, yeah, this film is nominated for a bunch of Oscars. I think, what, 10?
It's second behind Joker.
Yeah, I think it's 9 or 10, 10 Oscars, and for everything. And this is another one, I think, I think we were both very, very excited for this when it first came out.
Oh man, we were like everybody.
And I think that's one of the reasons everybody loves this film a lot, is because of Martin Scorsese and all these actors, and it feels nostalgic in a way, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good stuff about this film.
There's truly more good than bad about The Irishman.
Yes, The Irishman. It's obviously well done directing wise. Obviously, it goes without saying that Martin Scorsese it's gonna be a good director.
Yeah, he'd have to go out of his way to make a bad film. He'd have to be intentionally bad.
Yes, and obviously the acting by Robert De Niro was really good. Al Pacino, I think, was really good. And Joe Pesci was probably, of those three, my favorite. And it was lovely to see him on the screen again.
Really good to see him. Apparently, he was lured out of retirement. He was not working.
Yeah.
And how could he turn down his buddies that he's worked with before?
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Of the three, the one that was the most believable and compelling for me was Pesci for a lot of reasons.
Well, Pesci, and then it would be De Niro behind him.
Yeah, but here's the thing, guys. What we're about to talk about is the acting of Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
And I'll get a little nitpicky, but pretty much anything those guys do is Oscar level. It's like Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Everything they do, they've really got to tank unexpectedly bad, like Scorsese with his directing. So, for example, starting with Pacino, on the one hand, this is what I've told everybody. It's like, okay, he's horribly miscast to play Jimmy Hoffa. Just wrong. But it's Al Pacino.
Yeah.
So if you can get Al Pacino to play Jimmy Hoffa, why not? Because anybody who doesn't really know who Jimmy Hoffa is going to enjoy him in this film.
Yeah.
For those who know who he's depicting, he's miscast, but he still does a really good job.
Of course, you're going to get a good performance out of those three.
Right.
It's without saying. The problems with this film is, first and foremost, the length.
Yeah, which, bless his little heart, Scorsese, the older he gets, the longer he's letting his films go. Remember, we watched Silence, and we were thinking, Marty.
Yeah.
Really?
We get it. You're good, man. We do. But
edit. I know it's hard to cut what you've made, but edit. Just
a little bit.
Under
3 hours.
Because this really doesn't need to be that long.
Yeah.
It could have been it just doesn't need it.
Yeah, and I thought that what we talked about, what he did with the makeup was revolutionary. The fact that they didn't have to have the balls, but also some of the times in it, they weren't great.
Particularly on De Niro.
Yeah.
I found that worked best on Pesci. I don't know why, but I found the youthing, the youngening of De Niro around the eyes was a little bit distracting. However, there's a slight pass. We talked about this even with the nominations. Scorsese did something that hasn't been done. I really encourage you, I still think you can see it on Netflix. Obviously, this is on Netflix, but there's a behind the scenes. It's a round table. It's 30 minutes long, and it's Scorsese, Pacino, Pesci, and De Niro talking about the making of the film. And Marty talks a lot about the cameras, and they do too, acting with it, and how weird it was to talk with, doing their scene with 7 lenses on them.
Yeah.
They didn't have to deal with the distraction of the dots and things on their face, but they did have to deal with 7 freaking lenses to not look at.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So there was that. My issues with it is not. It's hard to review this film because there's not a lot wrong with it.
right.
The issues I have is the amount of praise it's getting. So
I'm with
if
you.
that makes sense.
100%.
Because-
This isn't Scorsese's greatest film.
No, it's a good film, and it's well acted, it's well directed, it's too long. But also, I've seen this film before.
Correct.
And so the fact that it's getting a ton of Oscar stuff with people saying it's the best picture over some other stuff that's so original and so new and so groundbreaking in some of the films.
Yeah, like comparatively, we'll ring this bell to The Lighthouse.
Yeah, I've seen this film by this director with these actors before.
Right.
That's my biggest issue with it. Is the fact that
Which is fun to watch.
Yeah.
But we've seen this before.
It's nothing new.
And it is based on a book, and it's telling because nobody knows what happened to Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
So this is a depiction that, based on sources, is probably the most potentially reliable. It's kind of like if you're going to depict the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Nobody knows definitively yet as to what actually occurred. So, but I think we talked about this in regard to the climactic moment with De Niro and Pacino, where by the point we got there, I would have hoped I had been more conflicted and torn by what De Niro had to do.
Yeah.
And it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
It's like, yep, that's what he had to do.
That happens if your film is already in hour 3.
Correct. Yeah, and you're just, but there's still great, like one of my favorite moments of the film is the fish conversation in the car.
Oh yeah.
That's a great random just moment of, when you have a fish in here, don't do that. That was really great.
That was really. There's a lot of great moments in this.
Great
and
moments.
Like I said, it's hard to review this because is it a good film? Yes. Yes, it is. It is a good film. It's way too long, and it's also not really that original.
Correct.
And so that's probably my biggest critique of the film.
100%.
Is the fact that I've seen this by Martin Scorsese with some of these actors.
Like I haven't said to anybody who's gone to watch it, I haven't said don't watch it.
Yeah.
But I'm not encouraging people to watch it.
Honestly, I know he hates it. It probably should have been a miniseries.
Yeah.
He'll never do that in a million years. That pretentious guy of Martin Scorsese. I love you. You're great, but he will never do that. I'm surprised he even put a film on Netflix. Honestly.
Yeah.
That's a big step for him.
That was a big step for Martin Scorsese.
But that would be my biggest...
You don't like his comment about the Marvel films?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Like we said, is it worth seeing? Yes.
Yes.
Will I ever watch it again? No, I will not.
Probably
I'll watch
not.
Goodfellas. I'll watch The Departed. I'll watch a couple of more of his films that are more groundbreaking and great before I will watch this film again.
Yeah.
And that's it's like I said, it's a weird film to review because of that.
Correct.
Because it's not like I'm saying, it's a crap film. It's the acting was terrible.
I'll tell you what. For anybody not familiar with Martin Scorsese and has not seen these guys together, you're gonna love it compared to those of us who've spent our lives watching these guys.
Well, it's like if you don't know Quentin at all, and then you saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and you're like, oh, this is amazing.
Exactly.
But in comparison, it's not his best.
Yep.
So it's one of those things, and so I guess it's hard to be Martin Scorsese because you have to keep.
No,
you've had so many great films, and you have to keep being better. And if you're not, people are gonna be like, bro, why you keep doing that? Even though everybody was excited he was doing another gangster film, we were also like, well, bro, I've seen that before. Why don't you do something different?
my buddy Rich said before he even saw the film, he was like, Another gangster film for Martin Scorsese. I'm really not that excited.
Yeah.
Even though it had them in it. And I will say the thing I'm most upset about is, as much as I think, Pacino is Pacino, but to have included him, and as much as I enjoyed Pesci, if I'm an Academy member voting on supporting actor this year, I'm choosing Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse every freaking moment of the day.
I think people just get caught up in nostalgia and the fact that this film has these three.
Right. And when are we ever going to see them together again? I get it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. So yeah, like we said, is it good? Yes. Is it worth a watch? Yes. But those are our reasons why it's not a love for us.
Correct. It's not Goodfellas.
I don't think it should win the Oscar.
No.
I would probably be...
I'd pick 5 or 6 other films easily, some of which were not nominated above The Irishman for Best Film of the Year.
I would probably be upset, honestly, if it won.
Oh, I would be deeply upset.
And then, once again, I'm not saying the film's bad.
If it hadn't have been nominated...
If
it hadn't have been nominated for Best Picture, it wouldn't have bothered me. Mm-hmm. But it's still a good movie.
Yeah, that's why it's weird.
It's a weird mixed bag.
To review. But let us know what you thought of it down in the comments below. And
You're welcome.
what should we review next?